Assalamualaikum. My name is Syaraf Mabishar Azmi. My metric number is S6153 and my lecturer name is Professor Dr. Zarala Saleh. Now I'm going to present about Audit 2, liberal assignment. First question is, identify two ethical dilemmas of auditor and how the auditors involved should safeguard the ethical principles in this situation. As per the case study, the moral dilemmas faced by auditors pertain to finding a middle ground between upholding confidentiality and disclosing unethical or illegal action by third parties. The Director of Finance insists that her interpretation is correct given the case facts, but Ali Sultan and Co. reject it as false. This places Ali Sultan and Co. in a challenging situation when they have to choose between maintaining client confidentiality and disclosing the improper or illegal accounting adjustment. Ali Sultan and Co. must uphold their ethical standards when addressing the ethical conundrum that arises when auditors must strike a balance between protecting client confidentiality and addressing potentially incorrect accounting adjustment because they have been working with the public hospital for 7 years. Given the long-term affiliation, the independence of the auditors is called into question. Aside from that, the second moral dilemma facing auditors is responding to pressure to act unethically, particularly from superiors. The finance director is putting pressures on Ali Sultan and Co. by threatening to replace the auditors if they don't accept her bookkeeping practices. The decision for Ali Sultan and Co. is to either yield to the Director of Finance pressure and compromise their ethical standards, or to maintain their moral standards and stand your ground even if it means losing your clients. In order to uphold the ethical principle, it is also relevant to take into account recent service with the assurance client. If there have been recent charges to the hospital service, it could affect the auditor's independence. It's critical to evaluate the nature and extent of any additional services provided to ensure that they don't compromise expert judgment. The The most recent service provided by the assurance client must be considered, as any further services may compromise the auditor's objectivity. For question B, describe three threats to independence for Ali Sultan and Co. that might arise in the case and how Ali Sultan and Co. can protect threats to auditor. Self-interest poses the first threat to independence. If the auditor's interests diverge from those of the client, a conflict of interest may exist. During an audit, the auditor must consider the interests of all parties. Nonetheless, auditors might also have personal stakes in the organization or business they are investigating. If their interests are in jeopardy, they might prioritize their needs over those of the stakeholders. Threat to the interests of auditors can be avoided by Ali Sultan and Co. by simply prohibiting it. In order to eliminate any chance of self-interest, this strict rule prohibits auditors from having any financial stake in entity's success or failure. In their assessment, auditors' neutrality and independence are ensured by this. Another risk to independence is the possibility of intimidation and additional risk that auditors have to manage is direct threats from clients. When a customer has any kinds of influence over the auditors, these risks tend to come up. In this case, the client might threaten the auditor. The intimidation auditors encountered on the job is exemplified by this threat. The auditor's objectivity and independence could be in danger if they sense danger. One tactic to protect auditor from intimidation threats is to approve the activity or relationship but require the auditor to report it to the board, audit committees, management, or other pertinent parties. For example, disclosing to an audit committee the kind of services the auditor provides and the fees they charge. This makes transparency and accountability possible. Not to mention, the possibility of self-review jeopardizes the auditor independence. Some specialists provide other services in addition to auditing, which is their primary competency. For instance, auditors can assist with both auditing and financial statement preparation. In this case, it should be noted that the auditor will be reviewing their own financial statement. It will therefore create a threat to self-review because they have to evaluate their own work. One way to guard, one way to guard, one way to guard against the self-review threat is to allow the activity or relationship while requiring other policies or procedures to eliminate or reduce the threat. Auditors run the risk of self-review when they have the capacity to assess or examine their own work. Permission for the activity or relationship, for example, auditors reviewing their own work is granted to address this. However, further policies or procedures are put in place to eliminate or reduce the threat posed by self-review. For last question, which is C, discuss how do Ali Sultan and Co. can provide defenses for them if the management and board of directors of the hospital decided to take legal action on Ali Sultan and Co. Claiming for the hospital losses was due to auditor's fault, justify whether the auditor can succeed in their defense. Ali Sultan and Co. may argue that they conducted the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and adhered to professional and ethical standards. The audit must be carried out by one of or more persons who possess the required technical training on and auditing expertise. Auditors may then argue that they relied on information and guarantees from the hospital administration and that any mistake and or omission were not the consequence of their negligence. The auditor obtains written statement from management to support other auditing techniques. If the auditor can ensure that they appropriately rely on management's information despite receiving an accurate and or incomplete data, that may bolster their defense. Not to mention, Ali Sultan and Co. might argue that an audit only offers a reasonable assurance rather than a complete guarantee and that some fraud or misstatement might go undetected. Particularly if there are not significant negative assurance is another term for limited assurance. And limited assurance given the CPA is essentially stating that they not aware of any material misstatement based on their work. That's all from me. Thank you.